Broadcasting from the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studios, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2019 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studio with me today, I have Titan Games athlete, owner at Swim Strong Academy, personal trainer, and professional strongwoman, Jackie Wood. How are you doing, Jackie?
Hey, how's it going? I'm good. Thanks.
Of course. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to stop by and share your story with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So just to kick things off, I wonder, where did you grow up and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
Yeah, I grew up actually in New York on Long Island, and I went to high school there. After I graduated high school, I ended up moving to Texas. But all throughout my childhood, I was an athlete. I played softball t-ball with all the boys starting at 4 years old, and then I started swimming competitively when I was 8. And that continued up until the end of high school as well. So yeah, sports all my life.
And so when you decided, playing all these different sports, but really got into swimming, it seemed, I guess at an early age, you said you decided to stick with it all through high school. Was that the main sport that you focused on?
It actually wasn't. So I really focused on softball and was trying to go to college for it. I didn't get scouted in the South at all. Mainly all of my offers were up north, but because my family was moving to Texas, I decided to go to Texas State University. And, I didn't want my softball career to end, so I decided to try out for the Texas State softball team, and I ended up walking onto it. It was a short-lived career, but it was, at least an accomplishment that I was able to say I did.
Absolutely. I mean, walking onto a collegiate softball team is incredibly impressive, but being short-lived, what happened?
So I basically got into, I came down here, I started living on campus, and then, I wanted to make some money, so I started bartending. And bartending and 8 a.m. classes in college don't mix.
Yeah.
So I kind of stopped showing up to my 8 a.m. classes, and my grades fell through. And because I was a walk-on, there was an investment in me through the university. So they just said, you don't have the grades to play, so you're not on the team anymore. And that was a really big dream crusher for me. And so I tried to turn it around the next semester and really focus on my grades. And received a letter in the mail saying that I was going to be put on academic probation. And, after really trying to get the letter in the mail saying that, you're put on academic probation, you have to now go to a community college to try to get your grades up, was another kind of, stab in the gut. I thought I did it. I thought I was, working really hard and applying myself. And so I went to community college, and I ended up having an emergency appendectomy that semester. Wow. And was out for 6 weeks. So I had to withdraw from my classes, and I kind of just got super disappointed and frustrated with college that, I'm trying. And then that next semester, I actually received a letter in the mail saying that I was never supposed to be put on academic probation. And that they messed up my GPA, and they were apologizing to me and asking me to come back without applying or reapplying back to Texas State. And I basically just said at that point, college isn't for me. I'm just going to keep making money in bartending. And, it led to the slippery slope of the rest of my story.
So, then from there, the emergency appendectomy and being out and, your academic career as well as your athletic career as far as college went, it fell away from you at that time. So then what did you decide to do next, focusing on bartending? And so what did you see yourself doing after that?
I didn't really see myself doing much. I could say that from there, it's kind of started my decline into this dark lifestyle that I lived between bartending, and just being disappointed in the fact that, I wasn't going to school and then I wasn't playing sports anymore. I was a straight A student in high school. I was National Honor Society, so from that to this was a huge change. And it definitely took a toll on me, but I kind of drowned myself in work and just started bartending a ton. And, you know, the slippery slope was leading into drinking all day, drinking all night, waking up with a hangover, taking taking a shot, drinking a glass of wine to cure the hangover, and then going to work all night again. And the cycle continued. Um, kind of just thought maybe I would end up managing a bar one day. I remember there was times that I talked to my dad. He's a business owner, and I talked to him about, going in and helping me open up a bar or help, like there was a lot of thoughts in me staying in the industry because I was just so consumed in it.
Yeah.
And then throughout that time, I got into a few unhealthy relationships as well. And the reason they were unhealthy is because it was, very much focused around alcohol.
Mm.
Yeah. So I didn't really see much for myself other than what I had going on in the moment.
Yeah. And I mean, in that season of life then from where you were, but because clearly you pulled yourself out of that and you are, where you are today. So how did you bridge that gap? What happened to make you have that mental shift, that physical shift in your life to put you on the trajectory that you are on today?
Absolutely. The ultimate kind of push over the hump was a relationship that I was in that ended pretty badly, and we had broken up, and the breakup actually ended. It was going on for about a year of like kind of back and forth, back and forthness, trying to work it out, trying to figure out why things were going the way they were going, and it just took a toll on me. And when it finally ended, I didn't get out of bed for a week because of the depression that I was in. And my mom came into my room one day and physically dragged me out of bed, sat me down at the kitchen table, and force-fed me yogurt to snap me out of it. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. And she just looked at me and she was like, "You're better than this."
Wow.
And, it brings tears to my eyes because I'm just so grateful for my mom doing that for me, because if not, I don't know where I would have been. So that's basically what started my uphill climb, and just remembering who I was prior to all of this, and her just continuing to encourage me, like, you used to love coaching swimming. I coached swimming back in New York, and she's like, "You used to love coaching swimming. Why don't you try to get back into that? The bar life is not you. You love kids, you love teaching, you love coaching." Like, she just tried to encourage me on all the things that she knew I was, that kind of got hidden by the darkness. So
Wow. That's, and I mean, it's such a testament to, reflecting back and thinking about the important people in your life who supported you and lifted you up and helped you get to where you are today. Because in those seasons, at those times, it's easy to think that you're alone, you're all by yourself, but it's not. And when it's difficult for you to rally, for you to have that mental discipline to just figure things out and pull yourself out of those slumps, you have those important people strategically placed in your life to help pull you out of that. And so your mom was clearly one of them.
Oh, 100%. And, we weren't living together prior to all of this happening, and she was going through some financial hardship, and we decided the best thing for us at that time was to live together and, have her kind of move in with me, to try to get her out of her little financial hiccup that she was in. And so that's just, God placing both of us in the right place at the right time, because she started living with me while I was going through all of this. So if it wasn't for that, I probably would have hidden from her. So it's the only way she knew that I was in bed that whole time is because she was actually living with me. So
Man, that's incredible, the timing of it all. Just
Hmm.
you needed each other at the exact moment, and then you really needed her in those moments. You guys started living together, and I imagine you thought, okay, well, this is to, help my mom out, but you didn't realize in turn that it would really be life-changing for you and just her presence being around you at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think it was going to go that way for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, from there, having that conversation with your mom sitting at that table, and then I guess that spark placed back in you thinking about coaching swimming and just getting back involved with kids. How then did you ultimately become the owner at Swim Strong Academy? And what is Swim Strong Academy?
Absolutely. I started working for a local swim school, and I made it clear, that I wanted my own facility one day to the owner at that local swim school. And I wasn't offered very much money, so I actually was bartending and coaching swimming at the same time. And it wasn't looked high upon in the bar world because I was watching my drinking and I was watching all of that because I knew I'd have to wake up in the morning and coach. And when you're a bartender, a sober bartender, it's not cool, That's like, who are you? We're all here to drink and have a good time, and you're not? Okay. So I got a lot of backlash from that, but I just kept pushing forward as much as I knew how, and worked for this local swim school for about 6 years. And it just ended up not being the place that I needed to be at to grow further.
Mm.
So about a year ago, I decided I was going to open my own business. And I just left and started working towards that and started coaching privately. And now I have up to, I think I have 58 students that I'm coaching
Wow.
now. And Swim Strong, the name behind it, it comes from, the Lord is my rock, and just being strong physically and mentally and emotionally. And that's what I want to pass on to my kids that I coach.
Mm.
Not only being a strong swimmer, but I want to be a role model for them that they can do whatever they set their mind to. So
Wow.
that's kind of where that comes. Yeah, I want to make them strong swimmers, but I just want to make them strong in life too.
Yeah, just make them overall strong people.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, with Swim Strong, then are you focusing mostly on younger athletes, middle school, or is it high school, college too, or is it just an array of different ages?
We coach all different ages. So we start them at 4 weeks. So right out of the womb.
Yeah.
You can join whenever, but for the most part, we have, it's 3 to 6 year olds is our main target. And we do have a few adults that we coach. No high school kiddos, but we definitely start them young as we possibly can, just to keep that water level comfort. If you start them young, then they won't develop a fear of the water,
Mm.
and that's a big hump to get over if they have that fear. So we try to get them before that.
Yeah. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense wanting to start them at a young age. And so then for you, because softball was clearly a huge part of your life growing up, and you said swimming was too, but softball was that main source of focus. So how then did you get so intimately involved in the world of swimming, and why did you feel pulled down that path to coach and to train and to own a business surrounding that sport?
I Swimming has always been a passion of mine. I followed the softball career a little bit harder because my brother played professional baseball. My mom, played softball in high school. My dad played baseball. It was kind of ingrained in the family.
Hmm.
And I guess I felt like I had to pursue that sport a little bit. Of course, I loved it and I really enjoyed it. With swimming, I started coaching swimming when I was in high school as my first job on the weekends. And that was just because of the swim school that I learned how to swim back in New York said, when you turn 14 and we want you to come back here and get a job. So I was like, okay, well, if I kind of already have a job, when I can get my working papers, then I'll go back and coach. So
That's
when
so
I turned
cool.
14 in New York and got my working papers, I went and started coaching. So it was just kind of a first job thing that fell into a lifelong passion. And then when I knew that I wanted it to be a career, I was when one of the kids that I had coached for a long time, probably about a year and a half, the mom reached out to me via email at the time and just said, I needed to thank you because we were at a birthday party this weekend and my child fell in and nobody was watching and he rolled over onto his back and called for help. And because of you, that saved his life. And so
Wow.
for me in that moment, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be that influence and be that life-saving support for that kid and teach them the tools they need to be able to save themselves in a hard situation. So
Yeah. And having those experiences and, having that on your heart, but seeing truly things that you can look back to that point you, point you in that direction when you were bartending and maybe not seeing that path, but all of a sudden now this is the path that you're on, and realizing all of those experiences, all those things that happened have led you to this, this journey that you're on now.
absolutely. And I'm grateful for all of them. I look back, and as hard as those times were, and as I'm like kind of disgusted with myself a little bit with how much I was not taking care of my body, and now I'm like a fitness fanatic and
Yeah.
taking care of my body. It's wild to think that I'm where I am today, but yeah, I'm grateful for everything that I went through, because I probably wouldn't be sitting in this seat right now talking to you if it wasn't for all that.
Really? Yeah, it's true. I mean, everything led you to this point. And so, with that, I mean, being now so heavily involved in fitness as a coach, as an owner, as a trainer, then how did becoming a professional strong woman come into play? How did you get so involved in that area of sport?
Yeah, the I was going to Gold's Gym to start. Eh, I just wanted to look better. I was very, very skinny, and so I wanted to just kind of gain some curves in areas that I was lacking. So I tried to go to Gold's and do the whole, build a booty program that I saw on the internet.
Yes.
And I was trying. And one day, one of my friends was like, this doesn't fit your personality. So can you come with me to this gym called Heavy Metal Fitness? I want you to see it. I think you'd really like it. I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So I went, and I ended up meeting the owner that day, and he was just kind of showing me around the gym, and they have this board of all of their gym records that they have. And there's a women's board and a men's board, and I was just sold. I saw it. It was a competitive piece that was missing from my, newfound fitness or lifting that I was enjoying so much. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start going to this gym, and I'm going to get on that board. And
Yeah.
so I started going there, and I did one powerlifting competition, and it didn't quite interest me. I needed to move a little bit more. Powerlifting is very, one lift and you're done. And so one of the athletes in there was like, hey, you should try strongman. Like it's strength based to where you have to be strong, but it's also like there's an athletic part of it too, and you should just try it. And I was like, okay, cool. When? He's like, 4 weeks later there's a competition, so you should do it. So I was like, okay. So 4 weeks later I was in my first strongman competition, and I absolutely fell in love with the sport.
Wow.
And I just dove into it deep, and for about so that was 2.5 years, and then I got my pro card in 2017. What year are we in right now?
20. Yeah. It's about 2 years ago.
Yeah. So 2017, the end of 2017, I got my pro card, and then from there I went to the Arnold World Classic in 2018, almost a year ago, and placed second. So
Wow.
technically second strongest lightweight woman in the world right now.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's based upon weight class?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the weight classes are my weight class is lightweight, which is 140 and below.
Okay, gotcha. And so what is when you get your pro card, you compete professionally, you can get sponsorship money. Is that what that means?
There's definitely more opportunity for sponsorships when you turn pro.
Okay.
The shows that you do are pro shows now, so you'd only compete against other pro strongwomen.
Got
The
it.
only downfall with it is there's not many pro shows that still have weight classes. So most of the pro shows are now open weight class.
Okay.
So I'd be going up against any other size pro up to the heavyweights. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah, it's a little it's exciting to get my pro card, and and I'm absolutely, it's an accomplishment that I've wanted, but it's kind of like the end in that sense where I can't really do much with it
Really? So it's
because
yeah, go ahead.
no, it's okay because I weigh 145 pounds, when I walk around train. It's called your training weight. And other girls that I would be competing against are 200 plus pounds. And
Whoa.
we'd have to lift
Okay.
the same weights. So,
Man.
you do the math on that.
Right. Right. Wow.
But
Okay.
I mean, there's different, I'm actually training for a local competition right now in a different federation. So there's other things that I can do with strongman that it doesn't necessarily have to be down the professional route.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm still actively pursuing things within the sport.
Okay. And yeah, and that's crazy though that there's weight class distinctions up until a point, I guess. So when you go pro, it's just one big weight class, or you
Hmm.
is there just not enough women competitors where there's just one weight class?
I hope that someday down the road it becomes so big that they actually have to do weight classes for the women.
Okay.
That's my gut right now, is that there isn't
Yeah.
enough women, there isn't enough pro lightweight women to make a weight class in every pro competition, so they have to do open weight classes. But yeah, I hope down the road it becomes a bigger sport than it is, because it's not very big right now.
Yeah, and I mean it's true but having you out there, a strong proponent of it, a good idol in that realm, that's just going to be, it's going to be good for the sport and continue to promote it. And in that vein, promoting that sport and with this platform that you now have, how did you through all of this fitness journey and just your personal journey too? How did you end up as a contestant on this season's Titan Games?
That is a great question. So, I was heavily, heavily, heavily into my Arnold World Classic, my world competition show last year in March. It was around 4 weeks before my competition that I received an email from a recruiting producer asking me, or telling me about the opportunity to, apply for the Titan Games, be on the show. And I was like, okay, this is cool, but I'm training right now, so I can't take my focus away.
Mm-hmm.
And they even said, Dwayne Johnson is the host. It's going to be on NBC. Like they sold it to me, but I said, I can't focus on that right now. Like I was so, this was my last opportunity to place at Worlds in a weight class. So I was like, no, don't talk to me right now. And after I got second and I came back and like revisited the email, I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like, what's this all about? And I started doing my research. Thankfully, it wasn't too late to apply and stuff. But yeah, I talked to one of the recruiting producers, and we had a Skype interview, and then I filled out the application online and said, hey, you're going to go to the combine and you can show us what you got. So it was an athletic interview, basically.
Wow.
And we went there, and I think there was over 100 contestants there. And then, yeah, after that, about a couple months later, we got the phone call saying, you're part of BJ's 64, and really it's 32 women.
Right.
So I was on top of the world. I didn't think I don't have a lot of confidence in myself. My confidence people is my mom and my coach. And they're the ones that are always telling me like, no, you can. I'm like, I can't. So I did not think that I was going to make it, but I did.
And so, I mean, of course, again, speaking to the importance of having those people in your life, then supporting you and telling you you can when you feel that you can't, feeling like you're not qualified or you're not good enough to get there. But then when it happened, when you got that call, like, hey, you made it, you're one of the 64. How did then you shift shift that mentality of this is a dream, this is something that's never going to happen, to, oh my gosh, this did happen. All right, it's go time. So how did you go about shifting that mentality and just preparing yourself to get ready to compete?
Through my coach again, even though I made it, I still had my doubts about myself and I struggle with self-doubt a lot, and it's something that I know I have to work on, and I look myself in the mirror every day and I say like my three things to myself, and I head out the door, and I really try to tackle that, but it's a struggle, and I rely heavily on my coach, and we have a really, he's been coaching me for about 4 years now. He's like an older brother to me, and we have a really good relationship, and he knows exactly what to say to get me out of my head to be able to compete at the level I need to compete at. And so he was actually, along with my mother and my dad and my brother and my boyfriend, able to come out during filming and be there for me. And yeah, it was incredible to be able to have them there, and I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, I can imagine having them actually there and be able to see them in the stands cheering you on, and just being able to share that experience with them.
Man. Yeah, it was emotional.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah, I bet it was. So with now this incredible experience that you've had, I mean, you've led such a wonderful life. I mean, overcoming all these obstacles and deciding to persevere and push forward, having those people around you to support you. After your experience specifically with the Titan Games, what would you say is your definition of a Titan, and how do you now believe that experience will carry over into the rest of your life?
Wow. The definition of a Titan to me, it's the first word that comes to mind for me is fearless. I talk about not having confidence, and I can't wait for my episode to premiere.
Yeah.
Because there is a change in who I am, and going into the Titan Games and coming out a different person with a newfound confidence. Because here's the thing, with strongman, you know exactly what you're going to do competition day. You know exactly what the events are. You know exactly what the weights are. You're able to practice those up until you go in. So for me to have self-doubt going into strongman, it's absolutely wild for me to even think that way now, because I went into the Titan Games blind. We weren't told anything, like nothing. And then said, here, this is what you're going to do. And I was like, holy moly, that's what I have to do. And so for me to even just step up to the plate and attempt it, there's no way that I should ever have, a self-doubt moment moving forward in my life, because I did this, had this experience. I can do anything, basically. At the end of the day now, it's like, I did this. I stepped up to the plate. I took on DJ's challenge, and I can do anything.
Yeah.
So moving forward in my life, that, the word that I carry around with myself now is fearless, because there shouldn't be anything that I, am faced with that I should be afraid of doing or conquering.
Yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome. I really, I love that. It's so cool to think about you going into a situation where you truly had no idea what was to come. And so now any situation that arises, any competition, any obstacle, anything in your life, you know that you can face it, you can take it on, because you literally had no idea what was to come, and you were able to overcome those obstacles. So what's to stop you now?
Right. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that really is
You put it
awesome.
in better words than I did.
No,
Thank you.
No, I didn't. You articulated it perfectly. And so now using all of that with just this journey that you've had and the Titan Games, Strong Woman, starting your own business, using your skills and experiences as a swim coach, and now looking forward, knowing there's still so much to come and you're going to continue to achieve so much success. I just have one final question for you, Jackie, and it's what do you want to be remembered for?
In my kids' lives, when they grow up, I just want them to look back and say, one, Coach Jackie was strong. And that's, I know that word is used a lot. And I just want them to look back and say, Coach Jackie was strong and she showed me what strong is supposed to be.
Yeah.
In my clients' lives or in my family, and everybody else's, I want them to see somebody who overcame self-doubt. And I want people to look back and be thankful that I was in their life, because all I want to do is help people now. I have started to, I've started to help people. Obviously, I'm a personal trainer, and weight loss in a lot of my clients' lives is a huge thing. And so that's an obstacle that we are overcoming together, with me being able to push them to that point of, go to the gym, work out, eat healthy, and then they have these before and after pictures to say, like, look what I did. So I want people to be thankful that I was a part of their life. And yeah, I would just want to help anybody in any way I can, whether I'm an ear to listen, or an encourager or a motivator, or, coaching and showing my kids how strong they can be. Just positive.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the Keep Moving Forward Creators Studio, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward podcast iTunes channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.